Victoria's heavy lockdown laws, particularly in regional Victoria. President of the Victorian Bar Association, Wendy Harris QC, has written to the Police Minister Lisa Neville with concerns after the arrest that appeared disproportionate to the threat she presented. While Liberty Victoria say pressing charges to prevent a peaceful protest was a disturbing development irrespective of the current state of emergency. Well, it's Feedback Friday, and as always, I'm keen to hear what you have to say about the big issues of the week, just like this. So on my Facebook page today, I asked, did the police go too far with the arrest of Zoe Lee Buhler? This is what you have had to say. Michelle Phillips believes most definitely there was no need to arrest and handcuff her. She was no risk to the police officers at all. Jonah Lusa thinks absolutely. Hypocrisy between BLM and this young mother is sickening. John Ryan says yes, a warning would have been more than enough if indeed she did anything wrong. Ross Gardner believes there's such a double standard here. It's okay for a Melbourne march, but not a quiet one in Little Ballarat. That poor woman deserves an apology and stat. Let's bring in my good friend, Sky News contributor and podcast host, Jane Marwick in Perth. Pretty confronting imagery. You tell me what you think, Jane. It's pretty tough, isn't it? I mean, imagine if it was someone on the left putting something on Facebook and they were treated like that.
Yeah, look, I agree completely with you, Peter. What has really concerned me, I suppose, is in some sectors, a lack of concern or outrage about this. I listened to Melbourne Talk Radio yesterday morning, the breakfast show, and I didn't hear them mention this story once. The fact is, when you watch the video of Zoe, she says, look, I'll delete the post. You know, I didn't know. They're in stage 3, they're in Ballarat, they've got to use social distancing. I think it's a terrible indictment on our society. Some news organisations completely ignored this story. In Western Australia, you had to go hunting for it. Social media was alive and well and on this story. I was really dismayed to hear some people saying she got what she deserved. She said she was unaware that what she was proposing was breaking the law, but also at that stage, it was just a thought. It was just a proposal. No crime had been committed.
This is the thing. You know, I've been pretty tough on people protesting in the middle of a
me too.
I think there's one rule for everybody. And if she had protests with a whole bunch of people and done the wrong thing, I'd be pretty tough on her tonight. However, I also believe in the one rule for everyone rule that there is consistency in the approach here. So we have, over 10,000, and the police said before they marched back in June in Melbourne, well, we're not going to bother with any arrests or anything like that. We're not going to bother with fines, just too hard, too unruly. She posts a thought on social media and literally jack boots inside the door, she's locked up, handcuffs and her PJs, for goodness sake.
A pregnant woman in front of her young children, she was compliant. There was no indication that she was going to resist any form of police directive. She was saying, look, delete the post. I found it extraordinary, but it feels dystopian to me. It feels like we're living in some horrible Orwellian parallel universe when some people say, some people said, she played the pregnancy card, she played the victim. She is pregnant. I don't think she played the victim at all. I think she really owned her so-called error, and what really stuck in my craw was photographs of police in Ballarat who took a knee at a Black Lives Matter protest. So in that very same state a couple of months ago. So which is it? And if she were a woman of colour, would she have been treated like this, or would she have been front page news everywhere?
No, and I don't think she's playing the victim on the pregnancy. I put it in there because it's a statement of fact. It's a statement of fact.
Yeah.
So that's why
I agree. I'm with you. And it's valid because she is pregnant and she was on her way to have an ultrasound. So it is completely relevant, and I don't think they should have stressed a pregnant woman at early stage of pregnancy so quickly.
No, well, I think, just like they should let someone with brain cancer go home and, rehabilitate their own home. Don't get me started on that. I want to go to another issue today. This discussion about the Aboriginal flag, we've had it for some time. It was created by an Aboriginal artist. He owns the copyright. He's outsourced it to a number of, for which he gets a handsome fee, to a number of companies. The federal government's reportedly in talks to buy it. The move would make it something that can obviously be used under all the usual Commonwealth flag rules. I went to Facebook to find out what people think, and I asked this question: should the government buy the commercial rights to the Aboriginal flag? This is what you've had to say. Peter Gordon said, in my opinion, the Aboriginal flag is the most divisive thing in Australia. We're all Australians now, and it doesn't matter when you got here, we should all stand under one flag. David Owen believes no way. The owners should gift it if they were a true Indigenous supporter rather than blackmail for their own profit. I don't know that he's doing that, but that's my viewer's view. Jenny Huff says, yes, I think so, and somehow have the Indigenous flag incorporated into the national flag. David Stingle thinks absolutely not. The Indigenous culture should be celebrated and respected as part of our history, but we are all one people under one flag. Now, I have to say that last comment, Jane, I have no issue, and I agree with that person, I have no issue with the flag up there in lights on days of Indigenous significance. It's an official flag, but there's only one national flag, and I don't think that should change.